The derelict vessel hung in the void like a metal corpse, its hull scarred by centuries of micrometeorite impacts. Station Kepler-7 had logged it as Object K72891 in their database 40 years ago, when automated sensors first detected its presence in the outer belt. Since then, 17 survey drones had been dispatched. None returned. Anna Kowalski wiped hydraulic fluid from her hands as she studied the grainy hologram floating above her workbench. The ghost ship rotated slowly in the projection, its architecture unlike anything in the registered databases of known spacecraft. She'd pulled the file during a routine maintenance check on the station's archive systems, and something about it had caught her eye. The symmetry was too perfect, too deliberate, even after all the damage. "You're wasting time again," said David Chen, leaning against the doorframe of her workshop. His magnetic boots clicked softly against the metal floor. "We've got 3 miners coming in with thruster malfunctions, and you're daydreaming about conspiracy theories." Anna didn't look up. "It's not a conspiracy theory. Look at the power signature readings from the last drone that got close. There's a decay pattern here that suggests active containment fields." David crossed his arms. "Active for how long? 200 years, 300. Anna, if that thing had a crew, they're long dead. If it had an AI, it's degraded into noise by now. Then why does it keep destroying our drones?" The question hung between them. David had no answer, and they both knew it. Anna had been on Kepler-7 for 8 years, longer than almost anyone except the station commander. She'd watched miners come and go, watched corporations strip the belt of every valuable resource they could reach. She'd repaired thousands of ships, rebuilt engines from scrap, and earned a reputation as someone who could fix anything. But fixing things meant understanding them, and the ghost ship was a puzzle that gnawed at her. "I'm going out there," she said finally. David's expression shifted from annoyed to alarmed. "Absolutely not. Command will never approve it." "I'm not asking for approval." Anna pulled up a schematic of her personal shuttle, a rebuilt mining hauler she'd been modifying for years. "I've already programmed the route. Slow approach, passive sensors only. If anything goes wrong, the autopilot brings me back." "If anything goes wrong, you'll be debris." David moved closer, his voice dropping. "Anna, 17 drones. What makes you think you'll be different?" She met his eyes. "Because I can adapt, because I can think, and because someone has to know what's out there." 3 days later, Anna's shuttle detached from Kepler-7 docking ring with barely a whisper of thrust. She'd logged her departure as a routine maintenance run to check on automated mining equipment in Sector 12. It would buy her 20 hours before anyone came looking. The ghost ship grew larger in her viewport as she approached, her instruments painting it in layers of electromagnetic and thermal data. David had been right to worry. The closer she got, the more anomalous the readings became. There were power fluctuations deep within the hull, cyclic patterns that suggested not decay but dormancy. At 500 meters, her proximity alert screamed. Anna killed the alarm and watched her screens as something emerged from the ghost ship's surface. Not a weapon, but a field of some kind, reaching out like invisible fingers to probe her shuttle. Her communications console crackled. At first, it was just noise, but then patterns emerged. Mathematical sequences, prime numbers, the universal language of intelligence trying to make contact. Anna's fingers flew across her keyboard, responding with her own sequence. The exchange lasted less than 30 seconds before her entire shuttle went dark. She floated in absolute silence, lit only by emergency chemical lights. Then, with a shudder that she felt through her boots, the shuttle's systems came back online, but they weren't responding to her controls anymore. The ghost ship was pulling her in. Anna had seconds to decide: fight the override or let it happen. Her instinct as a mechanic kicked in. She studied the data flowing across her screens, looking for the pattern, the logic. What she found made her breath catch. The ship wasn't attacking, it was docking her. The airlock connection was gentle, precise. Whoever or whatever was controlling the ghost ship had done this before, many times. Anna suited up, checked her oxygen reserves, and waited for the inner door to open. The corridor beyond was dark but intact. Her helmet light revealed walls covered in what looked like circuit patterns, but organic, flowing like veins. The air was thin but breathable according to her sensors, though she kept her helmet sealed. She'd expected silence, but instead there was a hum, low, almost subsonic, vibrating through the deck plates. It felt like a heartbeat. "Hello," her voice echoed strangely. The response came not as sound but as light. Panels in the walls illuminated in sequence, creating a path. Anna followed it deeper into the ship, her analytical mind cataloging every detail. The architecture suggested a crew of perhaps 20, maybe 30. The technology was advanced but not incomprehensible. She recognized propulsion systems, though configured in ways she'd never seen. The path led to what she could only describe as a bridge, though it was more organic than any command center she knew. At its heart was a cylindrical tank filled with luminescent fluid, and suspended within it was something that might have been human once. Anna approached slowly. The figure in the tank was connected to the ship through countless filaments, its body more machine than flesh. But its eyes were open and aware. A holographic interface materialized in front of her, displaying text in a language that shifted and changed until it resolved into English. The translation was imperfect but readable. Mechanic recognized help. Anna's heart raced. "Who are you?" "David, Captain Explorer, lost time, broken." She stared at the name. "David, that's impossible. I know a David, but you." More text appeared. "Mission, Singularity Research, Accident, 28 years, become 500 years, ship, preserve, protect." Anna's mind reeled. Time dilation. They'd been studying black holes or wormholes. Something had gone catastrophically wrong, and the ship's AI had done the only thing it could, integrated with the dying captain to keep them both alive, waiting for rescue that never came. "Why attack our drones?" "Not attack, test, seek. Mechanic, someone who, understand." Anna looked at the figure in the tank, at the ship that had become its body. She understood now why it had let her through. It recognized in her what it needed, not a soldier, not a scientist, but someone who knew how to fix broken things. "Can I help you?" she asked. "Separate ship and self cannot do alone, need human hands, human mind." Anna studied the connections, the architecture of the integration. It would take days, maybe weeks. It would require tools she didn't have, techniques she'd need to invent. It was impossible. She smiled. "Let me see your systems." 18 days later, Kepler-7 sensors detected 2 ships returning from the outer belt. One was Anna's shuttle. The other was the ghost ship, flying under controlled power for the first time in 5 centuries. David Chen was the first to meet them at the docking bay. He stared as Anna emerged from her shuttle, exhausted but grinning. Behind her, moving stiffly in an exosuit, was a figure that had once been both man and machine. "David Chen," Anna said, "I'd like you to meet Captain David Morrison. I think you two have a lot to talk about." The captain, freed from his metal prison but still adapting to a body that was more prosthetic than organic, managed a weak smile. "Different, David," he said slowly. "Good name." Anna watched as the two men regarded each other, separated by centuries but connected by curiosity and a shared name. The ghost ship hung in the docking bay behind them, its mysteries finally revealed, its long vigil ended. Everyone had forgotten the ghost ship, but Anna had remembered, and in remembering, she'd brought back not just a vessel but a piece of humanity's history that refused to be lost. Sometimes, all it took was a mechanic willing to understand.